Welcome to Read Your Comics. Today I'm looking at Berni Wrightson, Master of the Macabre, number 1. Thanks for joining me today. If you're a big fan of Berni Wrightson like I am, you're going to love this book. But before we dive into it, I just want to give a quick thanks to all the viewers' support. Every like, comment, and subscription is appreciated. If you're enjoying positive comic content, please consider hitting thumbs up. Comments are always encouraged. And if you haven't already, why not subscribe so you don't miss any future videos? Now with that out of the way, let's jump into some Berni Wrightson here. This is by Pacific Comics. 1983, they, I guess, got the rights to reprint some stuff from the Warren magazines like Creepy and Eerie, where Berni did some like black and white little horror stories. But they decided to colorize them. So we're just going to go ahead and jump in. This cover is just a panel from inside. That's pretty much how this series is. It only lasted 5 issues. Pacific went under during that time, and Eclipse took over the last 1 or 2. I'm not really sure. But this is more or less meant to be like a premium or a deluxe reprints of some like classic Berni Wrightson stuff. And we're going to see right off the bat, we've got nice, like, it's not coated paper. I guess this is Baxter paper, like they say, but it's, high quality paper. It's not thin newsprint. And we got stories that were once black and white and they colorized them. Legendary colorist Steve Oliff is on the coloring here. Bruce Jones wrote a nice introduction here, just basically going on and on about how good of an artist Berni Wrightson is. That kind of goes without saying. Other note in here is William Stout did the logo design here. So, pretty cool creative group there. This first story, this has 3 stories in it. This first one is called Muck Monster, and I look at this and I see some of the early stuff of what Wrightson would do in his Frankenstein book. All of these are credited as writer and artist to Berni. I don't think that the later issues are. I think Bruce Jones actually writes some and some other writers, but this issue is all Berni. He wrote and drew all of this, and then Steve Oliff colored. And one thing I'm going to say about these kind of short stories, these short horror stories, is there's a lot of ambiguity left into how these monsters and creatures came to be. For instance, this one, you just see this ray of light shining on a grave, and it's saying, I am. Only of that I am completely certain. So there's an awareness, an awakening, and then this creature, whatever it is that is an I am, it sees this scientist working on him. And this is where I say you can see some of the early ideas probably percolating for his Frankenstein book, with this like mad scientist and all this scientific equipment, these whatever this stuff is called, these like glass globes with boiling things going on, and you see like a skeletal body there, so you do think it's kind of a Frankenstein thing, but I don't think that's what it is. I mean, he is trying to reanimate some corpse of some sort, but this is what's giving it life. And it's unexplained. And I mean, look at this page, this title page, the Muck Monster. More of this like mad scientist stuff. Just look how much detail on this one panel. And I can't imagine what Steve Oliff, this wasn't drawn to be color. So Steve Oliff really had to like not try to take over the scene and all the things that were done in different tones and stuff to not distract. But I think he does a great job overall in all of it. There's like nice gradients and stuff without being overbearing, and just letting the glass work kind of speak for itself there. So this story, this creature is narrating it. It's aware, it's awake, but it's not animate, I guess you'd say. And it's frustrating the scientist as he is trying to create this artificial life. He finally just gives up and dissects the cadaver that he has and boils it in acid. And this is just like a crazy scene. It's like a mass, like a serial killer disposing of a body almost. So he boils it down in acid and drains it through this drain in the floor, and it just, he just pours it out into the drain and into the sewer, and done with it. His crimes against humanity have been washed away, or so you would think. And I love this page too. This is more or less just one scenery, but we're following the muck as we go along, as it like drips down the side of a mountain and trickles essentially back into a graveyard, where it goes underground. Here's this ray of light again. Maybe the light is like bringing it to where it needs to be, or directing it. And the Muck Monster seeps into the ground. So we've got some nice ghoulish skeletal remains here as the monster adheres itself to it. And look at the texture of the dirt even. I mean, sparing no ink to get that idea across. And he emerges, and he's going to go, look at the lighting coming up from the grave. So it's like a zombie or like a ghoulish monster. I mean, this is the muck, right? It's like the acidic, melted cadaver that is aware and is going to merge with another cadaver to come back up. And now it's animated. And it returns to the scientist, who's shocked, but also like kind of like giddy that whatever he did worked, and somewhat disbelief. And the narration is saying he basically just kind of goes crazy. There's your cover shot right there in reduced. So it's interesting to look at it reduced right here, and then also on the cover and see how big the lines are. I actually like this. I like it blown up like that to really get a look at just all the lines there. Because right here, the lines, as they're meant to do, they blend together just to create the shadow. But the look of panic in those eyes is great. It's great. So the monster doesn't kill the guy. It just kind of leaves him there. He cracks up and has just gone completely mad. And then the monster goes out. And I thought the ending was a little weak here, because the monster just goes out on this ledge and I guess becomes one with the earth and the elements. It just sits down by a tree, and it's in its own thoughts. It says, I am part of the celebration of the world. Yes, I belong, and I celebrate, even as the rocks and the trees on the mountain celebrate. I belong here. I am accepted. I shall stay here to celebrate the day, to celebrate that which is, for I, too, have found a home, a purpose, forever. So the monster just goes and sits there, and you see the seasons change, and the body deteriorates a little bit, too. So I felt like the ending was a little weak. It was some interesting narration throughout, but, the art, of course, carries it through. I like the ads in this, because look what we're getting. Dave Stevens' Alien Worlds in April. Pretty cool. The next story is called The Monster of Pepper Lake. And this one's kind of interesting, too. This man has been sent here to study this lake that there's not really anything in the town except the rumors of a lake monster, kind of like the Loch Ness Monster or something. But they have this sign up that says there's been 82 fatalities of people searching for this creature, but not bringing any evidence back of its existence. And he doesn't really want to be there. It's almost like he's been assigned to it. But this story is really good to show off like Wrightson's ability to draw water. I mean, this feels like a turbulent sea right here. I mean, just the feathering. And I do think the coloring helps probably here, because you have the sunset and the blue to help. I've never seen these in black and white that I can think of. I don't have any eerie or creepy magazines, to my shame. But I do think the coloring works really well here. It's just not overdone. It's the biggest thing. Awesome splash page here with our title. We see the big Leviathan. It's gigantic. And of course he's like, oh man, there really is a thing here. So he immediately thinks, how am I going to capture this? Now, why did he not bring a camera out there? That's a good question. Great screaming person here, just like screaming out into the sea. It got away. So now he's determined to capture the thing. So he wants to return to town, and everybody is just indifferent at the town. Everybody's like, oh, you saw it, eh? Yeah, I saw it once a long time ago. Big, isn't it? And nobody really cares. Like, oh yeah, if you catch it, let me know. It'll make the fishing better. And notice they keep going back to this sign about the fatalities. Easy foreshadowing, right? Again, great use of like the reflection of the water right there. Nice sunset here. So then he goes about like he's going to build a trap. Nobody's going to help him do it though. And because they're all just indifferent. They're like, whatever, there's a monster out there. We've lived with it our whole lives. And nobody believes us and whatever. So he's like, but I'm going to capture it. So he goes about work to build this very elaborate trap. Look at this underwater shot with these like pikes and stuff. Now, part of this was kind of funny to me because he's like got no help. How is he getting these posts up there? That's a 2-person job, right? And then he goes and he kills a bunch of cows to use as bait. He cuts them up. How is he getting? He says he kills like half a dozen. So 6 cows. One man is going to carry these from a field down to the water to use them as bait to catch this creature. And it works. He catches it. He snares it in the trap. So he snares it in the trap, and the town people come out, and they're just kind of like, well, what are you going to do with it now? And he has all these big ideas to take it away. He's like, I'm going to take it away and show it. It'll be like a huge scientific achievement. It's going to make me rich. And I mean, he's got like the bones of it as he imagines it. But what's interesting here, you see all the people listening to him. You see him here just starting to pick stuff up. So I thought there was something a little lost right here. At first, I thought the people were like killing the thing or experimenting on it. But then you see they're coming at him, and they've all got these clubs and rocks and stuff. And they actually are coming to take him out. And then they set the creature free, or the Leviathan. The perspective on this one, with the hand and the lighting coming this way. You got double lighting, because you got lighting coming from here and from the top. And this like blood pouring down. The townspeople protect the creature, or they're under the hypnotic spell of the creature. I'm not exactly sure how that works out. That's what I'm saying. These old horror stories, there's ambiguity to them, and that's a good thing, right? We don't need every single detail explained to us. So they kill the guy and they set the creature free, and then they're like, terrible thing about that young man, terrible, terrible. One good thing about it though, every time there's another death, business picks up. So there's your foreshadowing, adding his death to it. And they're kind of based on tourism of people coming to look for the monster. But if somebody finds the monster, they take him out. Jack Kirby ad, Captain Victory, pretty awesome right there. Gray Mara. I don't know anything about this book, but looks kind of neat. All right. Edgar Allan Poe's The Black Cat. This was the most disturbing one to me because I am an animal lover. I am not familiar with Edgar Allan Poe's story that is being adapted here. This is probably the most gruesome one, I feel like, of this issue. So a man and his wife, they build this house out in the country, and they have a cat. And you got this like great Victorian look. This is something I think Berni Wrightson is so good at, aside from like his monsters and his ghouls and his decomposing bodies and that kind of stuff. He does this like interior settings, the clothing and such of, like late 1800s, early 1900s, an aesthetic, right? So they have this cat, and at first the guy really likes the cat. The cat really likes him, and it follows him around. And then the narration, it's like he starts to be bothered that the cat is always with him. And why? It never really explains why. Basically the guy's just going a little mad. And it's like he loves the cat, but then he starts to detest the cat. So then he starts to do things to try to make the cat go away. He doesn't want the cat anymore, so he's mean to the cat. He does things to scare the cat off, but it persists and persists until one day he starts to feel bad about it, and the cat bites him. I mean, cats bite. If you're a cat person, your cat's going to bite you. That's just the way it goes, right? And this is what I'm saying where it gets so gruesome. So he's mad about the cat, and he lures it back to him, and he cuts out its eye with a pocket knife. And I mean, this could have been a much more gruesome shot, but this panel in itself to me is like, ugh. I like cats, so this was brutal. This was brutal. I will say good coloring though, again, by Steve Oliff. And then he starts to feel remorse. It's like he goes back and forth. He's mean to the cat, and then he feels bad about being mean to the cat. So the cat starts coming back around, and then he starts being mean to the cat again. He starts trying to it's like he's trying to half kill it. I mean, he kind of drowns it there. He's trying to burn it there. But then he decides he's going to put a noose around it and just finally kill it and be done with it. And he does that. But then there must be a curse or something of this cat, right? So then there's a fire in their house that he built has burned down. And there's this odd image perfectly etched onto the side of the wall of this cat with a noose around its neck. And, he feels he's destitute because he just lost everything. He feels like probably happened because of what he did to the cat, starts to feel bad about the cat, wants to find a new cat, gets lost in the wine and the whiskey, sees another cat, and when he lures it to his house and realizes it only has one eye, but takes it in anyway. And again, he's all about this cat. He's like, oh, I've done a terrible thing. I need to make up for it by taking this other one-eyed cat in. Isn't that really another one-eyed cat? And this time his wife really takes to this cat. And he starts to get jealous of the cat again. Until the wife wants him to go down to the cellar to get something, and he gets tripped on the cat. And he gets so mad at the cat, he falls on an axe, and he's going to go after the cat. Look at this angle, too. This is a great shot. I love this wide shot with them framed right here, going down to the darkness of the cellar over here, mixed with their kitchen or whatever, and the lighting from the lantern. As we build, falling down the steps, getting a little closer to him each time until we're at this angle of through the legs, but it's his back. He's turning, and she protects the cat, and so he just puts the hatchet in his wife's head. That's gruesome. It's funny that we can handle something like this, but if they had done that panel of the cat of actually popping the cat's eye out, that probably would have been way too far for. I'm assuming this came out in the 70s. The original print of this came out in the 70s. This came out in 83, but it would have just been too much. But a hatchet inside her head, we can handle that. We're messed up as humans. Anyway, so then he decides he's going to seal up the carcass inside a false chimney, he says. So if you have an old house, a lot of times there's a fireplace on the upper floor, but down below it is, it's usually hollow just because they have to build the chimney from the foundation up, or they did back then. And so he's going to hollow out a side of underneath the chimney and put the dead body of his wife in there. And that's all you really see him putting in there. Of course, the police are going to come. And they check out the place, can't find anything. He's like, look, the old house is sturdy as anything. I might say an excellently constructed house. These walls, whoop. And then, because he hit the wall, it crumbles down and reveals his dead wife. And the cat is in there with her. Little odd. I found this to be the scariest or the most gruesome, the most morose story, I guess you'd say. Look at this mustache too here on this guy. See, this is the stuff that reminds me of Sandman, and this is also the kind of story I feel like inspired artists like Kelly Jones, because Kelly Jones really likes this kind of the clothing aesthetic and stuff. The drapery on the cloaks and the clothing and everything, and just taking it to the next level. But that is Berni Wrightson's Master of the Macabre #1. Twisted Tales by Richard Corbin. It's a fun book, a good reprint material. Steve Oliff does a good job coloring what was written to be a black and white story here. Definitely, if you see these out, I would grab them. I mean, I did. So, until next time, read your comics. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed my breakdown of this issue, you can support the channel by hitting subscribe. It costs you nothing and helps other comic fans find the channel. You can also visit readyourcomics.com for cool merch, like this. Read Your Comics isn't just a brand, it's a mantra. And when you wear a Read Your Comics shirt, you are helping spread the word. For more classic comics conversation, be sure to follow me on Instagram at read.your.comics. And if you're still here, why not watch one of my older videos? Here or here.